The Sovereign Shadow, the Ghost of the 13th Parchment. In the archives of the Smithsonian, there is a gap, a missing 17 hours in the official record of August 1776. You were taught that the Declaration of Independence was a bold cry for freedom, but you weren't told it was a distraction. While the world watched Jefferson's pen, a second document was signed in the dead of night. It wasn't a declaration of rights, it was a map of a debt that can never be repaid, and a secret buried so deep that even the presidents who followed were never told the full truth. History is not what happened, it's what we were allowed to remember. The Midnight Archive. The humidity in Philadelphia in the summer of 1776 was thick enough to choke a man. Inside the Pennsylvania State House, the air smelled of stale tobacco and the frantic ink of men who knew they were signing their own death warrants. Caleb Thorne, a silent clerk with a memory like a steel trap, sat in the corner. He wasn't looking at the famous parchment, he was looking at the man in the shadows. Haim Salomon, the financier. Salomon wasn't interested in liberty, he was interested in the sovereign weight. "It is ready," Salomon whispered to Benjamin Franklin. Franklin nodded, his eyes weary behind his spectacles. He handed Caleb a small lead-lined box. "Thorne, if this leaves this room, the British won't just hang us, they will erase us. This is the 13th Parchment. It contains the true coordinates of the Continental Loan and the names of the families in Europe who own our future." Caleb took the box. He knew his life as a clerk was over. He was now a ghost in a war of shadows. As he stepped out into the dark cobblestone streets, he heard the rhythmic clatter of hooves. Not the British. It was the Order of the Iron Key, a secret society of loyalists who knew that gold was more powerful than gunpowder. The American Revolution was the most expensive war of its time. Washington wasn't just fighting a military war, he was fighting a currency war. The British were flooding the colonies with counterfeit Continentals to collapse the economy. Caleb's journey takes him to the Pine Barrens of New Jersey. Here, the story expands into the science of 18th century cryptography. He uses the Vigenère cipher, a method so complex it was called le chiffre indéchiffrable, the indecipherable cipher. As Caleb decodes the 13th Parchment, he finds a shocking entry. George Washington was not the first choice for commander-in-chief. The parchment lists a shadow figure, a European prince who was offered the American throne in exchange for the gold needed to win the war. The Paris Connection. By 1778, Caleb found himself in the court of Versailles. The contrast was sickening. Back home, men were eating their own boots at Valley Forge. Here, the nobility wore powdered wigs worth more than a regiment's salary. Franklin was playing a dangerous game. He was telling the French king America was winning, while Caleb's box proved they were bankrupt. Caleb met Beaumarchais, the man who wrote The Marriage of Figaro, but spent his nights running a fake shipping company to smuggle gunpowder to the rebels. "You have the heart of the Republic in that box, young man," Beaumarchais said, sipping wine. "But remember, once a debt is written in blood, it can never be paid in gold." Caleb realized the secret wasn't just a document, it was a genetic debt. The families funding the revolution were the same ones who would later form the banking systems of the modern world.